Okay, is the fire department ready?
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. We are back, and we are now here for the Wilmington Fire Department's budget hearing. I would like to start with a roll call. First, I would like to start with Vice Chair.
Present.
All right, and then start with 3rd District. All right. Do we have a council member from the 5th District?
Did you say 1st District?
Third District. Okay. 5th District.
Is here present.
All right. And member at large Walsh.
Here.
Council member at large Spadola.
Present.
And council president.
Here.
All right. And then turning, would like to recognize all other.
Council, did you get me? 8th District.
Oh, okay. Yes. Councilman Field.
And did you get me? Councilman Oliver, present.
Okay, Councilwoman Oliver. Okay, thank you. I would like to also recognize the other council members in attendance. I'll start with 1st District. Gray.
Present.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. 2nd District.
Present.
Okay. 5th District.
Present.
Field. Okay. 6th District.
Here.
All right. And at large, Council Member Cabrera.
I am present, thank you.
At large, Council Member Dixon.
Present.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I missed the roll call. Sorry about that.
You're okay, Council Member Oliver. Thank you. And I would also like to recognize the Mayor's Chief of Staff, Ms. Tanny Washington, City Council Chief of Staff, Mr. Walker, OMB Budget Director, Robert Greco, and also OMB Rob Winkler, and Chief Donahue and the members of the fire department. Before I turn it over to OMB, I would like to inform everyone that, again, public comments will be asked at the end of the budget hearing, and we look forward to participation from the public. And public comment is limited to 3 minutes. If there are any follow-up questions, Ms. Marshal Basnight from City Council will make sure that we follow up. At these times, I ask if the council colleagues, if there's any questions, please use the raise hand feature. And now at this time, I would like to turn it over to OMB for the financial overview, and then it will be followed by Chief Donahue for the question and answer. OMB.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. And can I get the first slide, please? Okay, so just before we begin on this, again, just to remind everyone that additional details on all of this can be found in your budget packet, as well as in the budget book, beginning on page 75. All right, so the proposed FY2022 general fund budget for the fire department is $22.8 million, which is up $941,000 or 4.3%. Compared to the FY21 budget. Personal services, which make up 82% of the department's budget, are up $729,000 or 4%. Material supplies and equipment, or MS&E, are also up at nearly $193,000 or 34% compared to the 21 budget. And total staffing of 163 is down 1 from FY21. Of these, 156 are sworn personnel. All right, so next slide. All right, so let's drill down a little bit on the major funding changes for FY22, beginning with personal services. So regular salaries are budgeted to increase by a net 1.4 million. And this is mainly due to the new contract with Local 1590, which was improved by an arbitrator in July 2020. For FY21, the contract included a 16% pay increase as part of a conversion from a 24 hours on, 72 hours off schedule to a 24 on, 48 off schedule. Since the contract was finalized after the 21 budget was approved, this 16% increase is being budgeted for the first time in FY 2022. FY 2022 also includes a 2% COLA along with mandatory step increases. So offsetting some of these increases is a $770,000 reduction in overtime, since the 24/48 schedule will allow the department to provide minimum staffing coverage with less reliance on overtime. All right, so moving on, the department has a net decrease of 1 FTE in FY 2022 for a savings of $592,000. The largest part of this is the conversion of 10 officers into firefighter positions, which occurred in FY21, but wasn't part of the original 21 budget. This doesn't have an impact on total FTEs, but it does reduce salaries and benefit costs by $497,000. Can we jump back to the previous slide, please? Thanks. The department's also deleted a vacant fire plans examiner position for a personal services savings of nearly $95,000. Net of additional consultants costs, the total savings here is $14,700. All right, so moving to MS&E, the majority of this year's changes are related to consultants, which are up nearly $157,000. This includes $45,000 for the biennial promotional process, $34,000 for for continued use of the state's email servers, and $80,000 for a plans examiner consultant, which again is more than offset by the elimination of the fire plans examiner position. And the final notable change for this year is for contracted maintenance services, which are up $42,000 in order to enable the department to clean its PPE gear to National Fire Protection Association standards. All right, so those are the major changes for the fire department for FY 2022. If you have any questions, I am happy to take them now. And if not, return the floor to you, Chairman Johnson.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Winkler. And now I'd like to roll right into Chief Donahue. If you have any.
Mr. Chair.
Sorry, I can't see the hand raised for that. Okay, Councilmember Walsh.
Yes, could we go back to the previous slide? Yeah, that's it. I get what you're doing here. I don't get how you did it. How were the battalion chiefs, the captain and lieutenants, and the firefighters eliminated? I see it's a conversion to firefighters, so positions weren't eliminated, but how did the rank get put down to firefighters?
Yeah, so the chief could speak about this a little more as well, but this was actually built into the FY21 budget, so that when one of these positions would become vacant, go before admin board, so it could be converted into a firefighter position. And the chief again can speak a little more about the reasoning behind how that was done. But yeah, this was actually built into the 21 budget.
Yeah, now that you're saying that, my memory's serving me better. The fire examiner, is that for the fire marshal's office?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Now at this time, I would like to kick it to Chief Donahue to introduce his department and his staff.
Good evening, Chairman Johnson. Thank you. Good evening, Council President Congo, all council members, council staff, and the mayor's office. Joining me tonight is Deputy Chief Gabe Pabone of the Fire Marshal's Office, Deputy Chief John Hoban of the Operations Division, and Battalion Chief Carl Zipfel of the Support Services Office.
Okay.
Can I go right into an opening statement, sir?
Yes, please do.
I'm going to go right into our vision. It is the vision of the Wilmington Fire Department to continue to provide the citizens of the city of Wilmington with the highest level of life safety, emergency services, and property preservation. This will be accomplished through intense training, public education, prompt responses, and compassionate emergency care. Our performance measures are quality assurance of all our fire reports and inspections for accuracy, content completion, and submission in a timely manner. Our officer development program. We are going to certify our fire officers to national standards, Fire Officer 3 and Fire Officer 4. Our firefighter proficiency training, which is a monthly training event. Our cardiokinetics program, containing our fires to the room of origin 90% or greater, and risk reduction for the citizens of Wilmington by continuing various public education programs, fire drills, installations of free smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, and completing building inspections and pre-plans. Our top 3 priorities: secure funding to continue the renovation to all city fire stations, secure funding to replace fire apparatus and develop a replacement cycle for replacing apparatus in the future, and continue to nationally certify our fire officers and firefighters in various areas of the fire service. As I mentioned, Fire Officer 3, Fire Officer 4, NIMS 400, our Wilmington Fire Department Command School that we're developing, and also Instructor 2.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Chief. Turning to question number 1, which is a question other departments have been asked. Can you discuss the use of how the department used the CARES Act 1 funding in 2020? How was it used, and how were the budget account lines impacted potentially for this upcoming fiscal year?
This was similar. The answer that was given to WPD. This is, if Rob Winkler, if you'd like to jump on, or Rob Greco, it's basically the same as what was asked of WPD, the answer giving.
Okay, so that means that it was the COVID-related sick leave and parental leave and overtime?
Yes.
Now, going forward, as cases decrease and vaccination rates increase, do you expect these payroll expenses to level off?
I hope so, yes.
Okay. Now, was there any COVID impact that the fire department had different than the police department for CARES Act?
Well, we increased our usage of PPE, cleaning supplies, due to the fact that we make a significant amount of medical runs. We were very diligent in cleaning and sanitizing our stations, but pretty much it was business as usual for us.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, turning to question number 2.
Sir?
In anticipation of American Rescue Funds, do you have any tentative plans for use of the funds? Again, to fill in budgetary gaps or new or existing programming? I understand this has been asked of all departments. We're kind of in the limbo right here, but if you could just, for the record, just state, just briefly.
I haven't received any guidelines for this, and before I would do anything, I would check with my superiors. There's always things I'd like to do in the area of public education, smoke and CO detectors, and fire prevention. But until we actually find out what the guidelines are, I don't want to say that we would be doing these things until we actually find out what we can do and if it's approved by my superiors.
Okay, all right, thank you. Just turning to number 3. There's no questions from council members. Can you discuss the vacant positions and further specify the duration of the vacancy and the time frame for filling?
Yes, I can. If you go to next, okay. The vacancies occurred between August of 19 and March of this year for a total of 20 vacancies. I'm happy to say as of today, the 41st class started. They will be in school till July 17th is the day of graduation, and we will be at full strength.
Okay, and I believe, so this class, did this classes start tonight?
This morning, yes, sir.
Okay, I think I saw something one of my colleagues shared with me. So that was nice to see. So now how long is the class again?
They graduate July 17th.
Okay.
So a little over
July.
3 months.
All right. Thank you, Chief, for sharing that. Can you turn to question number 4? Can you discuss any proposed changes to positions, new positions, deleted positions, upgraded, any title changes?
Yes. Will you go to the next slide, please? As Mr. Winkler discussed, we went from a 4-platoon system to a 3-platoon system. And when we did that, we had extra officers, extra battalion chiefs, captains, and lieutenants. So we actually didn't need them. So what we did when those positions retired, when somebody in that rank retired, we changed that position to a probationary firefighter's position. Our authorized strength stayed the same, but we just picked up more firefighters, and those firefighters are now in the academy.
Okay.
And if you could go back, I want to answer the vacant civilian fire examiner. We replaced that with a consultant. We couldn't get any qualified applicants to apply for that position, and it is vital to have that plans examiner role filled. So that's why we decided to go with a consultant.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I believe Councilmember Darby has a question.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chair. In regards to the shift happening, was it due to trying to just save money or to be a more efficient like fire department? What was the reasoning for it? And then I'll follow up after the answer.
Did you say the reason for the shift change?
Yeah, you said you went from a 4 to a 3 platoon?
Yes, it was a staffing issue. Basically, I didn't have enough people to staff that shift. We need 34 people to start the shift every day, and I had roughly 35.5 people on a platoon. So practically every day it called for overtime. So it was to be more efficient and to save money.
All right. May I follow up, Chair?
Yes, please.
Yes. So I think that's great to be more efficient, to save money, but I think there's an unintended consequence to the reduction in a lot of leadership positions that I just want to put out there. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but I do want to put out there that there's an unintended consequence where it's already difficult to be promoted, and especially when you're a Black firefighter to be promoted within the fire department. So this is actually like taking away those leadership positions, creating more lower ranking. I use ranking in military terms, lower ranking positions for people to sit in, and then making it harder to get into these leadership positions. So I just want to say there's an unintended consequence when it's already hard to be promoted and already hard to be promoted as a Black firefighter.
Well, just to touch on that, we are mandated to have 1 officer and 3 firefighters per fire truck. I cannot have two officers ride together on a truck. So those extra officers, they wouldn't have been assigned anywhere. So it was fiscally responsible to just move those positions into firefighter positions. That's why it was done.
Councilmember Oliver, I believe you're next.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The vacant civilian fire examiner. Now, I was clarify this up for me because I was told that y'all had some applications, but you wasn't satisfied with the application, so you went with a consultant. Is that true?
They didn't meet the requirements. The two applicants we had did not meet the requirements to be a plans reviewer. So that's why we could not attract, and believe me, we put out feelers everywhere. We posted the position, we extended the posting, and nobody would apply.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
that's it.
Is there a follow-up, Councilmember?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Chief. Now moving on to question 5. Discuss the department's authorized strength. Specify the fiscal year 22 authorized strength in the fiscal year and compare it against the fiscal 21 actual authorized strength.
Okay, if you go to the next slide, please. Okay, our authorized strength is at 156 with 4 civilians. FY21, our authorized strength dropped to 136 uniform and 4 civilians. Presently, we have an academy there are no plans for a fire academy in FY22.
Okay. All right. Question. Can you discuss the planned use of $425,000 budgeted for overtime, attributing to a savings of $770,000? And can you also specifically, just to be, upfront, because this issue comes up a lot, can you discuss the implications of rolling bypass and the conditional company closures?
Yes, sir. The following conditions had the effect on reducing the budget. The conversion of those positions I talked about was a saving. The shift change from 2472 to a 2448 gives me more people on a platoon. And now that we are full strength and fully staffed, that is where I'm going to get my overtime savings. We have not used rolling bypass in nearly a year, and I have no plans to utilize rolling bypass with the new shift.
Okay. So do you? And so I should strike that, Chief. I believe I have some more questions further on that will follow up on this.
Okay.
Roll into the next question. Can you discuss the planned use of approximately $207,000 budgeted in the consultant line? Now, this is a $157,000 increase from last fiscal year.
Yes. Our promotion process cost approximately $61,000. Our vendor was selected from an RFP in 2018, and we have used this vendor twice. The promotion process is open to all members on the fire department who are senior firefighters or lieutenants as per the collective bargaining agreement 11.7F. The plans reviewer position was advertised and we had numerous inquiries, but no qualified applicants. We only had 2 applicants apply, but again, they weren't qualified for the position.
Okay, now to dig a little deeper, Chief, I believe as is always questioned by departments, is what's the promotion? What process is it used to get a, I guess, further DBE vendors in the future?
We just put out an RFP, and I think we only had 3 people. Was it 2? Yeah, it was 3. 3 people respond, and we researched, and we really liked the vendor. RMA out of Chicago. They've done a lot of departments, and my 2 deputies and my chief, we evaluated, my support services chief evaluated everything, and we just thought they were the best that put in for to do the process. They do a very good job, I feel, and our members that took the test liked it. They do a survey after, and all our guys seem to really like this process compared to the previous process.
Okay. I believe Councilmember Darby has a question. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so my question is around part 2 of explain the promotional process for inclusivity regarding diversity such as race and gender and etc. So I'll have you answer, and then I definitely have some follow-up questions that haven't been answered yet.
Again, everybody is encouraged to take the process. That are senior firefighters, are lieutenants, but the promotion process is voluntary. Some individuals choose not to participate for whatever reason, but it's open to everyone that meets the criteria of senior firefighter or a sitting lieutenant.
Can I follow up, Chair?
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find my notes, but I have some specific questions in regards to, because we asked for you to explain the promotion process and it hasn't been explained yet.
I can explain the components.
So I have questions in regards to it. So from my understanding, for certain positions, and I wish I had my notes in front of me, I'm trying to find them, but for certain positions, there is a process called the banding process system where an outside entity does testing, interviews, whatnot, right? They assess individuals who are up for the next promotion level, right? Whoever is interested, right?
Correct.
Yep, so they get a score. Everybody gets a score and they band them. So you might get, just making up something, everybody who got A's, you might got 98, 96, and 92, they get into band 1. And then the same thing, band 2 are people who scored around similar, and then band 3 and so on. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so once they're in their bands, then let's say there's 7 people in band 1, and let's just make up a racial makeup, 5 white, 1 black, 1 Hispanic, right? So you have those 7 people in there, and once they're in the band, let's say there's 3 positions open, right? What is the selection process? Are there any merits? Is there a ranking system within? How do you make a decision on who gets, out of those 7 people in band 1, who gets those 3 positions?
That decision is up to me, the chief of fire.
Yeah, so that decision is up to you.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is the, I'm just gonna leave that there. So the decision is up to you on who those 7 people get selected, and there are no merits. It's based on who you want next.
Can you explain what you mean by merits?
So okay, so I'm gonna back it up a little bit. So there's 7 people within band 1. There's 3 positions open, right?
Mm-hmm.
You select who gets those 3 people. So within the band, there could be player 1 who has all these great credentials, but you'll pick player 2 because that's who you want, who might have a lesser credentials or not as seasoned as another person. You don't look, there's no ranking system. What I'm trying to say, I'm just gonna be frank, within that band, there's no ranking system on who gets selected next. It's based on who you want next in that promotional process.
But now, Chief, I just wanted to, again, it's a question, I think part of it, but I just wanted to, again, stick to the budgetary items. So if you could answer Council Member Darby, but then talk about how this fits into the overall budget picture. Because if we're having a longer conversation, we can go into Public Safety Committee or have a special committee meeting.
Yes, there is 2 ways to rank with promotional testing, and years ago you were ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how you were promoted. And in about, I would say, 1992, maybe even earlier that, it went to a banding system where if you make that band, you are considered equal. And you have to exhaust everybody from A band before you go to B band. And that's similar to what Wilmington Police does.
All right, Chair. I think, can I speak? I'm sorry.
Yes. If you have a follow-up again about the budget items.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That I think this will be another conversation, but I do want to add one thing, that those are only for certain positions. Once you start getting into leadership position, there's no banding. It's just based on who the chief of fire wants to select for the next position. But we can have that conversation in the public safety meeting.
Okay.
And Vice Chair Harley, I believe you had your hand up.
No, you can move on. I think Councilmember Darby said it the best. I think this discussion definitely needs to continue in a public safety meeting. So thank you.
And I would say this, Chief, because I do believe this may be appropriate, and I believe it may be important to just inform the public how the fire department process is similar or different from the police department's process.
I do believe they're fairly the same. There's usually a written exam, and then there's oral assessments. And the people that assess our firefighters are not Wilmington officers. We bring in a diverse pool from other departments. We don't, the testing administrator does, from Philly, Camden, various departments. And it's a very diverse pool, and they assess our people. And there's employee problems, tactical exercises, training exercises that they are assessed on. And then they are given a score. And between the written score, the oral portion of it, discipline, sick leave, seniority, that's how they are scored. That's how you get the total score. And it is similar to WPD.
Okay, Chief, and that's fair. And again, I believe we had the follow-up homework items. As council will know, you can provide some additional questions during a breakout meeting on this in the future.
Okay.
Appreciate the overview. So let's turn to the next budget item. Question 9 is the planned use of approximately $120,000 for contracted maintenance. And can you please also break out how the condition assessments of the firehouses are done, and when was the last time an assessment was done?
Okay. The assessments are done by.
Sorry, Chief. Sorry, Chief. I'm ahead of myself. I skipped 8.
We skipped 1.
Sorry. So you go back to 8. The planned use of $136,000 for the miscellaneous account grouping. And this is a $44,000 increase. Can you explain that?
And Mr. Winkler touched on that. That's contracted maintenance for our gear cleaning. We follow NFPA. We have a cancer reduction program. So the standard NFPA standard change to having your gear, excuse me, professionally cleaned twice a year. So that is where that 42,000, the main increase comes from. But it's something we have to do to protect our individuals.
Okay. So are some of these additional expenses able to be reimbursed by CARES Act funding?
That.
Yes or no?
Well, that was before the CARES Act funding. Remember, I said that we received our last allocation for that. So I'm not sure if the American Rescue Funds can be used for the purchase of PPEs, but surely if it can, we will do so.
All right, thank you. Now turning to, I believe we're 10.
Question 9.
9, okay. So 9 now is the planned use of $120,000 for the contracted maintenance program.
Yes, and that's everything you see. on this slide. The fire stations are inspected every May, usually by myself or the Deputy Chief of Operations, the captain of the station. Each station has a captain. So the captain is in charge of that house, and he advises us of repairs that need to go, that need to be done on a day-to-day basis when something breaks. But the deputy and myself, we will go out and we will look at the big picture, and we expect them once a year every May. As you know, some of our stations are old, and we are in the process of getting capital money to refurbish the remaining 3.
Okay. All right, moving to question 10. Can you discuss the number of calls for service for fiscal year 2018, 19, 20, and year to date?
So go to the next slide. As you can see, 2018, 25,043 runs. 2019, 24,877. And in 2020, we saw a little decrease to 23,823. It seems like our some of the medical responses dropped in the beginning stages of COVID. I think people were a little leery of going to the hospital. But as of 2021, we're on another 25,000 call pace. So we stay pretty consistent with our runs.
Okay. All right, thank you, Chief. Turning to question 11, can you discuss the available amount of state grant and aid funds remaining in the amount anticipated in fiscal year 22?
Right now we have 660,000. We will be using a good part of that for our rookie class. And I'm unsure if we'll get any this year, if we'll get any grant and aid this year.
So I'm just going to go out there and ask you, Chief. I mean, you have over $500,000 sitting there, and it has to be spent soon. Is there a reason why it's so much money left?
Well, we are funding this academy at a cost of about $275,000, and we are also looking at some technology for the actual mask units we wear. We're having a demonstration soon on that, and that will be able to tell us certain things when a guy's trapped in a building, how far we are from him, and that's going to cost a significant amount. So that's what we will be using that funding for.
Okay, so that's still the 275 minus 660. It still leaves a good chunk of change left, right?
Yes.
So the mask, is that going to be the remaining amount, or is there some other way?
I don't have the total price on the mask adaptions, but it's going to be significant. There'll probably be some money left.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chair, we don't lose this funding. If we don't spend it, we don't lose it.
Okay, so you don't lose that grant and aid funding.
No, we will not lose it. If there's money left, we can carry it over to the next year.
But you know, when you're making the pitch in Dover, aren't they going to see how the funds were spent? Isn't that going to be a part of the process?
No, it's usually pretty cut and dry when they give grant and aid. Pretty much everybody gets roughly the same.
Okay, so all right, so will the Wilmington Police Department be making a pitch?
Fire department? We usually don't make a pitch. They just include us in this.
Okay.
Along with the 60 other volunteer companies in the state of Delaware.
Okay. Now, are these restricted dollars or unrestricted?
They're restricted. There's only certain things we can use it for.
Gotcha. All right. I believe Council President Congo has a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief, from the new recruit class, how many people are from the city?
I believe it's 8.
8 out of how many?
25.
8 out of 25.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how much money is allocated to advertise for the academy for people in the city?
We don't have
How much
anything
money in your
budgeted.
budget?
We didn't have anything budgeted for this year, and I'm not sure last year. But we had funding. We had billboards, interest cards, things like that. But we didn't budget anything this year because we don't anticipate an academy.
So how much is the budget usually for, informing city residents about the academy?
I don't have it. I got Chief Ziffel looking it up, but I think it was around 15,000. Don't quote me on that.
That's what Chief, this is Rob Winkler. Yeah, that's correct. Last year it was 15,000.
15,000.
15,000. And how much is your budget?
0 this year.
This year, we have nothing slated for advertisement for recruits.
Question, Chief, I believe the question, I may have Council President wrong, is how much is your overall budget?
Your overall budget, yes.
Oh, I don't know I don't have the exact figure, but 27 mil.
Yeah, 15,000 for advertising. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes, now I just was going to make a statement about information I've read. I guess what some of class of your, you have increased, what is it, 17? Well, you had 17, I think it's 25 now for acting as for classification. Could you clear that up for me for your budget? What does that mean?
Can you repeat that question?
You had 17, but look like it's increasing. The increase is 25. It's saying like individuals acting out of their classifications. What is that about? Is that not true?
Acting out of rank?
Yeah, right.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Are you talking about out of class pay?
Yeah, correct.
That's when an individual, either a firefighter, a lieutenant, or a captain, acts, what we call act. He assumes the higher rank.
Right. So this is not, I didn't read, because I wrote this down after I read your budget. So you don't have 17 people and it's increased. Looks like the budget is trying to increase to 25 in reference to people acting out of their classifications. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that's what I was asking you. Could you explain that to me? That goes with the other question I want to ask you, basically what Darby said. So if someone's acting out of their classification, could you explain that to me?
Basically, if let's say the lieutenant of an engine company's off and there's four firefighters there, one of them will act out of rank. He will be the lieutenant for the day and he will get lieutenant's pay for the day. And that works on a rotating basis in the company as long as they have 3 years on and they're qualified to act. That's what acting or out of class pay is.
Okay, Mr. Chair, my follow-up.
Yes, please.
Okay, now I'm going to go to question 12 about the fire exploratory program. I know I wasn't going to knock on for the.
We're actually ahead a little bit.
Okay, are we on 12?
No.
Okay, I wait, go ahead.
Yes, it's 11. Now, council member Darby, I believe, your hand up.
I'm waiting to talk about 12, Mr. Chair. I'll wait.
Okay. All right. So everyone's interested in 12. So, Chief, let's dive into 12. Can you discuss for the Fire Explorer program?
Okay.
Wait. Now, and the council president, do you have a question on 12 as well?
No, just on the overall budget, but I can wait.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's dive into 12, Chief.
Okay. The Explorers program was not funded last year, and it is not funded this year. We are looking to do something different. Every year, it's how many people from the city got hired. I'm looking at developing a civilian fire training academy. We just did something similar well, we didn't. We partnered with St. Francis, and St. Francis did a civilian EMT academy for city residents only. And 15 people were trained to be EMTs, and they were offered positions as per diem employees to ride the ambulance for St. Francis. It was a pilot program for city residents only, and it worked well. And that is something I am exploring doing. The county runs fire training for people in the county, like an academy, but you have to be a member of a volunteer fire station, a volunteer fire company. City residents would never get that opportunity. So if the Wilmington Fire Department sponsors people that live in the city and train them to be firefighters over a period of time, then we could go to hiring off a certified list that would give city residents a way better chance of becoming a Wilmington firefighter. And that's what I'm looking at. It's doable. They would receive the same training as our recruits. They would become nationally certified firefighters, and it would be a win from the city. I think this would get people that really want to be a firefighter. Somebody lives in a city that really wants to be a firefighter. They commit to this program. We pay for everything, and then we could hire them, bring them right on the department with no academy. And that's what I think is a better way to get city people involved in being employees of this fire department.
Okay, so Chief, under that model, and I believe it's different from the Explorers model, I guess there's no opportunity for youth to get engaged, is there?
No, the Explorers, you can start at age 14. There's not much we can do with 14 when it comes to fire training. They're not old enough to go to fire school to be trained. So, and with the Explorers program, the majority of the Explorers were from outside the city. So I feel if we're going to spend city funds, we should spend them on city people. And I feel getting kids 18 and older, training them to be firefighters, I think is a benefit for them. And it also will be a benefit for the fire department to get more city residents involved on the fire department.
And as a follow-up, Chief, so, to actually officially join the department, you have to be 18 or 21?
18.
18.
Okay. All right. All right. I have no questions for the moment, but I believe some of my colleagues do. Council President?
Yes, Chief, just going back to your statement about nothing in the budget for advertising this year. So you don't have any type of ongoing budget item, line item to just to, you know, keep the Wilmington Fire Department in everybody's mind?
We use our Facebook
on
account.
an ongoing basis.
We use our Facebook account, and we still will be doing the interest cards that we do. We'll be doing some smoke detector events with door hangers. The interest cards will go in there. We received 550 interest cards for this class, but not everybody applied, but that's what we're going to continue to do.
But no money is allocated towards that on an ongoing basis?
Not for, in the sense of billboards and things like that, no.
Do you think that's something that might help with minority recruitment, if it's something that's ongoing where they constantly see, you know, the Wilmington Fire Department as a part of their everyday lives? Because what we're doing right now isn't working.
And that,
how do we get more minorities on our department?
I don't have the answer.
Is there a plan?
My plan is to start a civilian fire training academy. I think that is definitely going to help get more people interested in becoming firefighters. We will continue.
How does that, just a follow up, Mr. Chair?
Yes,
how does that, because when you say city, it sounds good, but how does that specifically target minorities, or specifically help recruit minorities?
It's it's open to everybody in the city, but we are always encouraging minorities to apply. We are always encouraging anybody in the city of Wilmington to apply. Most of our advertisement is done in the city, the billboards, again, Facebook, the newspaper, everything. But, you know, it's just not everybody wants to be a firefighter.
Okay, I'll let some of my colleagues answer their question and I'll come back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Oliver, I believe you were next.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back. Go ahead.
Okay, so you don't have a question at this moment?
I do. I'm reading my notes. I'll come back.
All right, Councilmember Walsh.
I think what's getting lost a little bit here is that there isn't any money for a recruitment class this year because there isn't a class. That the class that started today is under last year's budget. And, you know, I find some of these questions really belong in the Public Safety Committee and not at the budget hearing. Because this man, the fire chief, along with his aides, has attended all of the public safety meetings. He has given updates on the recruitments, on what was going on how many folks we had in different categories and all that at every single meeting. And people didn't have the questions then. So now here we are in the middle of a budget hearing and he's being asked these questions when there isn't going to be a class in the next coming year. And remember, a lot of this stuff, like even with the Explorers, could not happen in the past year because of COVID. So they, like everybody else in this country, have been turned a little bit upside down because of what's gone on in our country for the last year and a half. But even so, he still came to the meetings. He's always been available for any type of questioning, for any recommendations that anyone might want to give him, and can call him privately or get in contact with him privately. That's all I have to say right now.
All right. And I believe we have a statement from Chief of Staff Washington.
Yes, Chairman Johnson, it's my hope and it's the chief's hope, and along with the mayor, that we will have city council actually make an effort in recruiting individuals for the civilian fire training academy. Nobody knows that population better than they do. So I'm hoping that, you know, obviously we'll try to do a better job of getting the word out, but I'm hoping that the council members will assist in those efforts as well.
Thank you very much, Chief of Staff Washington.
I'm ready, Mr. Johnson.
I believe we have Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a few things. I want to say that as a new council person, I have been asking questions and talking to the Chief of Fire in regards to a lot of things that are being brought up tonight. My first round of questions were answered, and I'm still waiting on my second, so I'm still haven't gotten my answer, all of my questions answered in regards to the department. And I do want to say, before COVID, the Fire Explorer program was inactive. It was not operating. Even the year prior, before that, it wasn't. But I do want to say that I just want to confirm, so there's no budgetary plans to at all to keep the Fire Explorer program alive. I think that I am recommending or asking that there is a budgetary item for Fire Explorers program, along with the other program that you want to do for the Civilian Fire Academy. It is important to expose young people to these things, right? A lot of times when you're 18, 19, it's still good to expose, but really at that tender age of 14, 15, 16, that is when a child is exploring and trying to figure out what they want to do as they become an adult. If they're going to go to college, if they're going to join the fire department, like they're trying to make those decisions at that age. So I think it's so key. And I think asking council to be a part of this, I think is important, but at the same time, we have to make sure that the department is doing what they're supposed to do. There are so many teen programs, the Teen Warehouse, Network Connect, that the fire department can easily just reach out to get Wilmington kids. There are so many youth programs that I can think of right now where they can get, I can recruit that for y'all, to do a Fire Explorer program here in the city of Wilmington. There are so many teenage or young people programs. There's Job Corps Center right down the street from y'all. Literally, I worked there for 3 years and I never heard y'all come once at all. And y'all are literally a fire station right down the street. Not once have you guys visited Job Corps Center to say, hey, can we recruit young people who are between the ages of 16 and 25 to become firemen or firewomen? So I do want to say that the Civilian Fire Training Academy that you're presenting here today, what is the time frame and what's the fiscal impact?
Presently, we are still working on that. Hang on a second. The training is about $2,600 per individual. There's a associated cost with gear, but we could use spare gear that we have here, or we could lease gear, and we're looking into that right now at a minimal expense. So the bulk of the training, it's about $2,600 per student.
All right, thank you. Can I follow up, Chair?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so what's the time frame on this? Because I don't want another budget hearing season to come and then we ask the same question and then this is, oh, we want to do a Civilian Fire Training Academy. So do you have an estimate on when we should follow back up with you on this training, please?
Well, first of all, I have to get it approved through the fire school, but we would mirror something similar to what the fire school does. One night a week, every other weekend to achieve the training. So I don't have the numbers right yet, but that would also go for the NREMT, which would be like one night a week and every other weekend. So it takes time because they aren't in an academy where they're going every day. So it takes a good amount of time, and I can get you those that actual time frame.
Thank you.
Okay, and Chief, just follow up. You said it, $2,600 approximately.
Mm-hmm.
What's the outlook for how many you would have in the first class? So we have 10.
I would look somewhere around 10 to 15 at the most. We would definitely have to have at least 8. So I would figure, 10 to 15 would be reasonable and manageable.
And as a follow-up, I'm going to kind of ask a little bit of a leading question, but isn't it the approximate price tag of the Fire Explorers program about $15,000 approximately based on prior year?
Yeah, I do believe. Yeah, maybe a little more.
So is it possible in this world where we could have the Fire Explorers program geared towards the youth and then the civilian program for adults? I mean, are both, is it either or can it be both? Is that something that the department is willing to explore?
Well, I have a very small staff. I only have 14 people on staff, and it would be, it's hard to run that Fire Explorer program with people just volunteering or paying it overtime. To me, we would have to add somebody to the training division, I feel, to run it properly.
Okay, and again, it's more food for thought. Again, I know we're gonna have to have further conversations, but there's a possibility of even a joint partnership with Parks and Rec. They might have a little bit more bandwidth to run an Explorers type program, since that is really a youth program.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, that's fair enough. And I believe next up is Councilwoman Dixon.
I was next.
Oh, all right. Sorry, I have a little bit of out of order on my side. Councilwoman Oliver.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to say, I think, I think that the fire chief, he's doing the best he can do with it, I guess, with his staff. I would like to say I was able to give out a few cards, but this city council is a full-time job in itself. So Like I said, I was able to give out some of the cards that they did have around, but that's not my job to go out and recruit for the fire department. But as I stated, I did give out a few. But as you just stated, Councilman Johnson, you have the you got Parks and Recreation right there. Maybe it's conversations with Wayne Jefferson. And like you said, Mr. Johnson, as far as the Fire Explorers program, if that's only 15,000, now we're talking 26,000. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, but just looking at the individuals in the class, I do think it needs to be a little bit more diverse. That's all. But other than that, that's the bottom line.
Thank you. And I believe we move to Council Member Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Some of my questions were answered by my other colleagues, but I did want to know how long do you expect the Civilian Fire Training Academy to run? How long? I mean, how many weeks or months would that?
I will get you that information. I got to get the actual sequence of training from fire school because it will be done through Delaware State Fire School. That's our training academy for certification. So we'd have to make arrangements with them, but they do it for each county. And I know the director will do it for the city of Wilmington also. I can get you the time frame.
Okay, thank you. And then can I have a follow-up to that, Chair?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Also, I think if we can showcase a need, which is I think what my other colleagues are showcasing, if we can show a need for the Fire Explorers program, I think that would, in essence, if that's a partnership with Parks and Rec, or if that's how we supply different opportunities for our young people, because I think in some cases they feel like it's not enough activities for them for them to be a part of. So if there is, I think, a demonstrated need, I think we can work with you all to try to figure out a solution to that.
All right, thank you. And I believe Council President.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief, is there any type of budget line for a consultant that interviews the firefighters on like the environment of the Wilmington Fire Department, specifically the minorities? Because ever since I've been on council, this has always been a subject about the lack of minority representation. And I'm just on the outside looking in. So has there ever been any type of budget line item that is geared to finding out how the minorities on the fire department feel? Or is that a process that the fire department automatically does every year? Or can you talk about that at all?
There's nothing in the budget line for that, no.
Is it a process that happens?
I'm not understanding your question, sir. Could you?
Since I've been on council, there's the subject of the lack of minority representation in the fire department in a city that is 70% minority has always been at the forefront. Every budget hearing and a lot of the public safety meetings. What has the fire department done to address that? Have there been any surveys on how the firefighters feel? Because again, I'm just a council member, I'm just looking in. But how do the actual firefighters feel? Is there an effort? Has there been an effort since you've been chief or since you've been a part of the department to find out how the firefighters feel about the lack of minority representation in the fire department?
There has not been a survey. No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. I believe we can move to question number 3, Chief. Can you discuss any proposed budgetary technology requests?
Yes. Replacement of 2 Dell Latitude rugged laptop for use as a mobile data terminal in the fire apparatus, and 14 AT&T FirstNet SIM cards for the department vehicles Cradlepoint mobile network device. So it's for the that is for the computers that are in the fire apparatus.
Okay. All right. Now turning to question 14, Chief, can you discuss the amount of fees collected pertaining to the Fire Marshal's office for fiscal year 19 and 20, and then year to date?
Yes, sir. FY19, the fire marshal total fees, $670,783. Fiscal year 20, $992,658. And year to date, $509,543.
Okay, and specifically, where are a lot of these fees attributed to?
Deputy Chief Pabone's here, but I can tell you the bulk of it comes from plans review.
Okay, so anytime, I guess a business owner, someone wants to make a plan, then they have to submit it to the fire marshal's office.
Yes, any new construction, renovations, we review the life safety aspect of those plans.
So what do you attribute the significant jump to? It seems like it's increasing a lot. It's just there's a lot more development in the city. Is that the reason?
Yes, sir. It'll go up and down, but right now it's on the uptick where there's a lot of projects going on in the city. And that's why you see the numbers going up. We're on $1 million pace this year, which is a considerable amount of money.
Now, is there any thought to increasing fire marshal's office capacity, either manpower or software or anything to be able to handle that demand?
Well, the demand is the plans review, and that's that position we changed into a consultant. Our plans reviewer, our full-time plans reviewer retired last July, and that's why it's imperative to keep this position because of the amount of money it generates for the city.
Okay.
And if we had, let's say, 2 consultants, when the work slows down, there's no work for them. So, this consultant works when there's work, and when there's not work, he doesn't work. So right now, the guy we got is doing a great job, and he handles a lot of plans. We also have a captain in the fire marshal's office who will be he's going to plans review school, and he will be able to review plans here shortly after he gets back from training.
And this is more just this may be a hyper technical question, but can you you may not know this, do you know the approximate time of reviewing plans from fiscal 19 to present, and whether it's increased, decreased, stayed the same?
Chief Pabone, he's my subject matter expert on that.
So it's actually increased. We're looking at a decrease now. Obviously in 2019 and even the beginning of 2020, we had our plans examiner was here. She was working 5 days a week, versus we had a consultant working 1 day. Now we have him working 2 days, and along with the new captain that's going to be assistant because the old captain retired. So it's actually increased, but it hasn't increased to the point where it has really slowed down many projects. If there are major projects where we have one component of the project in the office, for example, if the building is in the office and the sprinkler and the fire alarm comes in, we will review the sprinkler and fire alarm to get the project completed and out. But as far as the last few months, I think it's actually going back down. One of the issues that we've had is with COVID and the way the plans are coming in. In the past, the contractor would come into our office, they would submit plans, we would review everything at the desk, and we would make sure they had everything. The plans, the contract, the check, a copy of their business license. Well, because contractors are no longer allowed in the building, now they're being either emailed or there are a lot of issues that are coming up with not having the complete application. So a lot of times that slows down the process. So COVID did play a little bit of factor into why the plans are taking a little longer, but I think we're doing an excellent job in getting the plans out as fast as we can. We've had some major projects come in this year, And that's why you see the increase. And we're anticipating some other projects to come in the next, hopefully 6 months. So it's basically driven about, you know, how much construction is going on and the amount of those projects, how much they cost.
Okay, and that's why I was asking a question, just trying to, you know, stay a step ahead. I know we've had this discussion, I know, about it, and trying to streamline this process, you know, because I believe seems like if there's not enough investment, then we're continuing to have lag time. Because I've had, you know, outreach from the business community about, you know, the lagging time. So I just want to know if it's on the table to explore possibly increasing this capacity.
So what would happen now is the captain from the fire marshal's office retired in October, I believe October. So what was happening is if a project came in and it's a nail salon that was being converted from a, you know, corner store into a nail salon, the captain will review the smaller projects, because those large projects, those brand new buildings, that 156 unit building takes 1 or 2 days. So we have our consultant working on those, and the captain would get all the small projects out instead of having them wait for the large projects. Because the captain retired, I've been assisted with the smaller projects, but as soon as our new captain gets trained and up to speed, hopefully in the next 3-6 months, he will be taking care of all the smaller projects, as the consultant will be taking care of a lot of the larger projects. So we shouldn't have a lot of issues. We do try to get out the smaller projects as fast as we can, because most of them are small businesses, and you know, 1 month without rent or without, you know, being able to open their doors, you know, can cause them a big problem. So we do try to assist in the smaller projects to get them out faster. And that's where the captain will come and be a big help once he gets trained.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
I believe now we're ready to turn to question 15. Can you discuss the fiscal year 22 capital budget requests?
Yes. Purchased 2 new pumper engines to replace 2 pumpers that exceeded their replacement cycle, and renovation of either fire station number 6 or fire station number 2. We are station 4 at 22nd and Tatnall is in line to be renovated, totally renovated next, and we will be down to 2 stations to be renovated. So the pumpers, they have basically a 10-year life front line, and then we bring them back into reserve status. So the apparatus will be replacing our 2004 and 2006 model pumpers.
Okay, and I see it's renovation for station 6 or station 2.
Yes.
When will the decision be made as to which direction you're going to go?
Well, it depends. If the HVAC system goes in station 6, then that one would move up in priority. They were all built around the same time. They're both in, tired shape. So I'm leaning towards station 2 right now.
All right. Thank you very much, Chief. And I believe we have Councilmember Gray is next.
Can you tell me the location of Fire Station 2 and also the location of Fire Station 6, and explain what renovation means? Is this just the systems, or does it get a complete interior facial remake? Thank you.
Station 2 is at A and Newcastle Avenue, and Station 6 is at 3rd and Union. A renovation would be a total renovation. Everything, roof, HVAC, bathrooms, bunk rooms, the whole 9 yards. Those stations were built between 78 and 82. They don't have separate facilities for females. They don't have separate bunk rooms. All the new stations now have separate bunk rooms, female facilities. So we're trying to bring everything up to the model we have now of what we think a station should be.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Darby.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have no questions about this specific question, but I know we're at the end. I have two other questions. I don't know if I can ask that now.
Well, since we're at the end, you might as well just ask now. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So specifically, I had a question about the carbon monoxide program. I was wondering if I can get a breakdown of what districts you install carbon monoxide detectors. I would like to know what neighborhoods they're going in. I lived in this house for 4 years. I live down the street from a fire station. I haven't seen one person knock on my door or offer a carbon monoxide detector. So I'm just curious to where they're going. And then my second piece is accreditation. Are you guys going through accreditation process right now too, like the police department?
No, we are not.
I'm sorry, can I follow up, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
So when will you guys be going through accreditation process?
We have never gone through the accreditation process.
Is there can I follow up, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Is there a reason why our fire department has not gone through accreditation process? And can we add, and I'm recommending that we do as a fire department, I want to make sure that we're at the same up to standards. This is a paid fire department. There should be some type of accreditation to make sure everything is running efficiently beyond all of our understandings, right? So I would be interested in seeing like accreditation happening soon for a paid fire department.
It was explored several years ago under Chief Patrick, but it was never followed up on. We were never accredited.
Okay. And can I follow up with my last question, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah, so my last question was pretty much around like recruitment and city engagement. I feel like we really answered that, and I just want to, I guess, recommend just my thought that we can actually fund the Fire Explorer program and the Civilian Fire Training Academy if we take the 21,000 from cultural affairs for food for a city party that's going to happen, holiday party, and then the 13,000 that's being used to increase the mayor's and the treasurer's salary. So we have money in the budget to fund your program and for kids to be exposed to this and for us to train other young adults and young people to become or be interested in your profession. So that's just my recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
You can use your grant funds too.
All right. Is there any comment on that, Chief?
I could answer the smoke detector and the CO. So the CO program, as far as carbon monoxide detectors, every year we usually get about 250 carbon monoxide detectors as a donation from Delmarva Power. They do not go to any specific districts when it comes to carbon monoxide detectors. They go to whoever calls our hotline first, and if we go and the need is there, or if we make a run and we realize that carbon monoxides are needed at that location, then we will install them. As far as the smoke alarm or smoke detector program, we have a partnership with Red Cross where we have 10-year lithium battery smoke alarms that replace your old style 9-volt detectors. We have installed over 4,000 of those detectors in the last 4 years in the city of Wilmington. COVID stopped us last year because of some large events. Last week, I met with Red Cross, and we will be having a large event in the area of Market Street to Washington, 21st to about 25th Street, because we've had a fatal there not too long ago. We will be knocking on every door, just like we've done in the past. And then what we do is we will schedule appointments, and a fire truck will come out and install them. We've done these programs throughout the city. We've done them in West Center City. We've done them in Byard Square. We've done them in Hedgeville. We've done them at, the last one we did was near the POW. We did Market Street. We did actually West Street all the way down to Heald, like 35th to like 37th Street. We installed over 180 smoke detectors in 6 hours. So smoke detectors are free in the city of Wilmington. I promote it everywhere we go, everywhere we are. You just have to call our hotline at any given time and we will have a fire truck there. So as far as the carbon monoxide ones, we run out of them, we're out of them. But if you need some, you can call the hotline and we will schedule someone to come out and install them, test your current ones and install them. We install them from every single city property, regardless if you live in a $10,000 house or you live in a $10 million house. They are free. They're here to save lives.
All right, thank you very much, Deputy Chief. There's nothing further. I would like to move, of course, to the final slide, the fire department organizational chart. Is there anything you wish to add?
I have basically 14 people on staff in day work positions and 4 civilians. The rest work in the operations division. They're actually out on the fire truck. So we have a very small staff and a very large suppression force out there.
All right, I appreciate it, Chief. At this time, before closing statements, I would like to turn to members of the public, and if there's any public comments. Fire department budget. All right, does not appear to be any. So I would like to turn it back to members of council for any final questions or comments. Okay. All right. With that said, I would like to then kick it to Chief Donahue and his team. Or any closing remarks?
No, I just like to thank you for your time and going over this budget. And I guess I'll be seeing you in some public safety meetings.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. And I would like to thank everyone who, of course, tuned in and everyone who participated in tonight's budget hearing. I would like to specifically thank OMB, the department heads, WITN, and our wonderful city council staff, and also members of the public for being engaged in this process. Next budget hearings are scheduled for this upcoming Wednesday, April 14th. We start with license and inspections at 4:30 p.m. and real estate and housing at 6 p.m. Again, we look forward to everyone being engaged in this process. Please tune in to WITN channel 22 to watch the meeting. You can also watch online at WITN.org. And also we have a new budget website where budget information is available at WILMBEbudget.org, where you can follow the budget, track the budget, and also submit questions that we will try to have answered during this process. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The ayes have it. And again, I appreciate everyone participating, and I'll see everyone Wednesday evening.
Thank you. Good night.